good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Taheshah and Eric Chilton this Tuesday. Of course, we are here to inform you, make you feel connected, and let you in on our world. So join our conversation. We are live streaming right now on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. And use our hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected. New at 4 o'clock, the Alamance Burlington School Superintendent wants kids to learn from home to start off the school year. This recommendation goes against the district's original plan to operate on an A/B schedule inside school buildings. So that would mean that half of the students would go to class on Monday and Wednesdays, and then the other half would go Tuesday and Thursdays. Those groups would take turns going to school on Fridays. The school board never voted to finalize any plans. The superintendent says he plans to recommend that schools eventually move to Plan B. That's in-person learning 9 weeks after the school year starts. The school board is meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. to make a final decision. Other school districts around the Triad are finalizing their plans. Surry County Schools announced they'll do remote learning for the first 6 weeks of the year. The district is deciding what comes after that. Lexington City Schools will operate under Plan C, that's online learning, until at least September 18th. Davidson County Schools are still making a decision. Guilford County Schools also still deciding. Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Schools plan to continue remote learning for the first 9 weeks and then possibly move to Plan B after that. Rockingham County Schools will go on with remote learning for the first 5 weeks. Stokes County will also start off remote learning and then move to an A/B day schedule. Randolph County Schools will follow Plan B. That's a hybrid with in-person teaching and remote learning. Wilkes County Schools will operate on an A/B schedule. Mount Airy City Schools plans to operate on Plan B with face-to-face instruction.
Now, the U.S. Surgeon General says the only safe way we can go back to schools is if we all wear our face masks and remain socially distant. Dr. Jerome Adams says generally the biggest thing to keep an eye on is background transmission rates. He adds CDC guidelines will help slow the spread of the virus and increase safety for students going back to school.
CDC has recommendations for things that you can do in schools, but again, the most important thing is what we do outside of schools before we reopen to lower the transmission rate. The government has a role, but I want people to understand we as individuals have a role too to do what we can, and that includes wearing face coverings.
He adds the most important factor in sending kids back to school again is what we do outside of schools. Dr. Adams says we must also do what we can to protect teachers and the public health as a whole.
American people, I need you to hear me. Testing, isolation, and contact tracing doesn't work when you've got out of control spread in communities. And so we need to understand that the way we get all of this to function is by getting people to commit to wearing face coverings, to not getting in crowded gatherings, to maintaining 6 feet of social distance. That lowers the prevalence and everything else starts to function.
And as Triad districts finalize those plans for the fall, I wanted to know what you are doing to get ready to go back to school. I asked you on my Facebook page. Here's what you had to say today. Kim King Bartlett says she's waiting for Guilford County Schools to make a decision so she knows what her high school seniors last year will look like. Lauren Randall says his kids are out of school, but he's buying supplies to donate to local teachers, and then they can do what they see fit with them. Nathan Snyder posted a shareable graphic here, but it reads in part, teach your kids to wear a mask now. Buy them a cute one. Have them wear it for half an hour at a time to get used to it. Don't wait until the day before school starts, hoping they don't have to, and expecting classroom teachers to do it. They have a ton of new things to fret about. Help them out with this one, and remember, teachers didn't make the rules. So there's a lot of preparation. Eric, I'm interested to see how you are preparing your kids to go back. They're all going to be on different schedules, it seems like.
Yeah, we've talked about this, but I will tell you, interesting what a lot of parents, I hear this buzz about trying to get retired teachers to come in and help with groups of small groups, obviously social distancing, but groups of kids in the homeschooling process, because it's so difficult for we as parents who haven't been trained as educators to do this. It's funny, people are really coming up with new and inventive ways to try to cope with all this. And really, you got to roll with the punches at this point. It changes every day, it seems like.
Yeah, now would be a great time to be a tutor in the Triad,
yes,
because I'm sure they will be a popular commodity come August. Taheshah, your thoughts about this?
Well, like that last comment said, we have to prepare, right? You know that saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I really think in this case, that will be the case. I've spoken to some parents who say that they're trying to teach their kids to wear the mask. It's really hard with the young ones, though. But if you yourself as a parent begin to wear the mask around the house, telling those kids that it is important, that they need to wear it, they are more likely to do so in school without any issue.
We will stay tuned to find out what every school district does, but it does seem like they're finalizing plans today.
The State Department of Health and Human Services is handing out personal protective equipment to agricultural workers. Now, Governor Roy Cooper announced assistance for these essential workers just before your 4 to 5. Health officials are now delivering more than 900,000 masks to farms and agricultural operations across the state. Now, Governor Roy Cooper says masks are needed to fight against the virus.
For those who continue to defy basic decency and common sense because they refuse to wear a mask, either wear one or don't go in the store. The refusal to wear a mask is selfish.
Governor Cooper also thanked retailers requiring face masks in stores. He says the rules show leadership. Dollar Tree and Family Dollar recently backtracked on their mask requirement rule, saying they'll request customers wear masks instead of forcing them.
Well, when we look at temperatures today, and you know it feels hot out there, although a little bit of a breeze today, which made it feel slightly better. But when you factor in the heat index with the humidity that we've got, because we are really humid, I mean, you're looking at some pretty rough temperatures. It's 93 actual temperature in Greensboro and Winston-Salem, 96 in Burlington and Reedsville, 95 Walnut Cove, and 95 in High Point. Now let's factor in the humidity. I don't know if Tim made this graphic or not, because when I saw it there, I said, I'm leaving him. Looks like the heat miser. He's got us, doesn't he? 102 is what it feels like in Winston-Salem, 106 in Burlington. These are feels like temperatures, not actual temperatures. 100 in Asheboro, 104 Lexington. You get the idea, that heat and humidity building in pretty strongly. So tonight, partly cloudy. We are already seeing a few evening storms way back to the west in our mountain and foothill communities. Look for lows tonight around 73, highs tomorrow at 93. There's our radar. If you're in our mountain and foothill communities, get ready for a few showers and thunderstorms. We'll talk more about that coming up.
We've seen thousands of deaths over the last few months due to the coronavirus pandemic, but another crisis is causing us to lose our neighbors as well, the opioid epidemic. I talked to some frontlines workers about the problem and how tackling it has shifted a bit in the wake of COVID-19.
Increased isolation, anxiety, uncertainty. Those are all underlying, psychiatric conditions that lead to substance abuse and substance misuse.
Corbin Petro, CEO of Eleanor Health, says the coronavirus pandemic is putting a strain on many people, with some choosing to cope with illicit substances.
We're seeing it in the general public. We're seeing it in enhanced need from our own community members.
Chase Holloman with Guilford County Solutions to the Opioid Problem, or GC Stop, says the problem is growing. Guilford County EMS gave a record-breaking 594 people the opioid overdose reversal drug naloxone in the last 6 months.
It's very concerning. Being an overdose survivor myself, it's very important to me that everyone else get the same opportunities to change their life that I did.
On top of that, Holloman says GC Stop members have administered 220 naloxone doses in the last 3 months.
More than likely, they did not call EMS, so there is definitely an undercount of overdoses as far as coming from first responders.
For those seeking help, Petro says pandemic-related changes at doctors' offices led to slightly relaxed medication regulations.
Prior to COVID, many of the medications that are used in this space, Suboxone, buprenorphine, you had to come and meet a clinician in person in order to get your first prescription. Those regulations have been suspended during this environment, and so we can treat somebody completely virtually.
But Holloman says that's only part of the solution.
There's a limited number of providers, a limited number of slots. A lot of programs have really intense barriers that people cannot surmount in order to get treatment from their programs.
In order to treat the issue, Holloman says it needs to be approached differently with access to treatment at the forefront.
There's complete discrimination and widespread medical negligence. We don't treat this health issue the same as any other health issue in the United States. We put people in cages more often than we give people the health care they deserve.
Petro says Eleanor Health is now offering free virtual support groups to anyone battling substance abuse disorder. I'll link you to that information in this story on our website. I also want to add that you can still visit Eleanor Health's clinic in High Point in person if need be. More of the 4 to 5 when we come back. What's the order again?
So, there is a horse rescue group called HERO. Now, I had never heard about this until today. That stands for Horse Education and Rescue Organization. Recently, they took in a horse, but they were going to nurse it back to good health because that's what they do all the time. They educate people about how to take care of horses and the like. But there was an added bonus with this particular horse that they didn't know about. It was a bit of a surprise. Take a look.
So Kelly, this is pretty cool. I'm not familiar with HERO in this program, so let's talk a little bit first about that, and then we'll talk about your buddy right there beside you.
Well, we basically are in our community, not just Winston-Salem, Forsyth County, but we try to service North Carolina for people who have abused, neglected horses, or if our community needs some help feeding, needs some help with some surgeries. But our main focus is education. If we can educate the community, a lot of our abuse and neglect situations wouldn't happen.
You sent me an email and we talked that you guys have a new addition. So introduce us to who's behind you there.
We have Speckles. She is our little Aggie pony that came in last August. She had a pasture mate whose name was Spirit. Spirit was determined that she was pregnant last August, but Speckles was a surprise. We had them both ultrasounded, but Speckles came up negative, and then she gave us this little surprise nugget right here about 5 days ago. So the way that we're doing that fundraising is through a name game, and you just go to our website, pay $5, and it's heroequinerescue.org, and put a name suggestion in. And once we have a bunch of name suggestions, we'll have a drawing, hopefully on August 1st.
Well, that sounds like an awesome thing. Hey, you guys are doing great work out there. Thank you so much. Give our best to the little one and Mama there.
Now, if you want to enter that contest, it's pretty easy. It's a contest to name the horse because I've linked you to their website in this story. It's on WFNYnews2.com.
Okay, you will not want to miss this. Watch this video as hikers are approached by a black bear in Mexico. Yeah, the hikers somehow managed to stay calm while the bear stood up on its hind legs and sniffed one of the hikers. Another person walked away, and then you can see the hikers just stood as still as possible while the bear just walked around them. The bear even pawed and tried to grab one person's legs. Now, once the bear starts to walk away, the hikers were able to go in the opposite direction of the bear.
And this is why I can't do nature. Well, according to the National Park Service, the hikers did the right thing by staying calm. Here are some other safety tips to keep in mind. First, excuse me, getting choked up over this. Be sure to keep your distance and never take a bear by surprise. Speak calmly and stay still. Pick up children if you have them with you. Travel in groups. Make yourself as big as you can. Keep food away from the bear. Keep a hold of your pack in case you need protection. Move away slowly and sideways so you can keep an eye on the bear and avoid falling. Now, if you want to not have to deal with a bear at all, you can just be like myself and just stay in your living room and enjoy nature from the window.
Taheshah's tips only on the 4 to 5. You know, some of my favorite videos are explaining bear safety when the people are demonstrating how to make themselves big. I know it's a very serious topic, and if I encountered a bear, I'd be glad to know it, but it is very comical to watch these people try to make themselves as big as possible to scare off a bear.
I just don't think that my natural instinct when I see a bear is to like go like this. And I mean, to me, that I know that's what they say, but my instinct says you're enticing the bear, like bring it and you see what that bear is going to do. They're huge,
Eric,
even the black bear.
Can you do, I missed that motion. Can you do that?
This?
Oh, there, one more time, just one. That was,
no, because you're going to take a picture.
That was great. I would be afraid and run away from you. I cannot believe those hikers just stood still though. Watching that video made me nervous. My heart rate was racing, and they're just statues.
I couldn't do that.
Nope, absolutely not. All right, we are going to continue our conversations on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're live everywhere today. Use our hashtag 4 to 5 and we'll chat back. One more time, Eric.
Tasha, can you hear me? Tasha, can you hear me? Cool.
All right, everyone. So today is National Junk Food Day. So we wanted to know, what is your junk food of choice? So we are bringing in Jalen Gilkey to share with us some of your favorites.
Yes, Taheshah, we got a mixed variety of good junk food. Our first comment coming from Ronnie. He had the sour gummy worms. Jeffrey, our next comment, he's got these are the pretzel stuffed M&Ms, or peanut butter M&Ms, excuse me. Tamara, she says French fries, ice cream, Little Debbie, oatmeal cakes, but that was before she changed her eating habits. Her favorite junk food now is trail mix and fruit, and those are two of my favorites. Kenise says anything chocolate. Karen, she says brownies and vanilla ice cream. That is one of my dad's favorites. And this right here is my favorite. It comes from Trista. She says popcorn and mini M&Ms. I love popcorn. I eat 2 bags a day.
Jalen eats 2 bags of popcorn a day. That caught me off guard. Hey, we're going to continue to celebrate National Junk Food Day. Cheez-It has released a new Cheez-It Wine Box. So House Wine and Cheez-It's partnered up again for National Cheese and Wine Day. The limited edition box has Cheez-It's white cheddar flavor, and that, my friends, is the game changer, and it's paired with House Wine's Rosé. The box is now available online at housewine.com. It costs $30, and they go on sale Thursday starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Interest was not piqued until they said the white cheddar Cheez-Its. Now I'm invested.
Well, here's what I'm not going to do. Wait online till whatever day to buy this and also pay $30 for it. No, I'll pay my $2.50 to get the normal box of Cheez-Its and grab myself a $10 to $14 bottle of wine and call it a day.
It's the novelty of it, Taheshah. It's a limited edition.
Okay.
She says,
I don't
okay.
want it.
Look, if Taheshah's always about saving money, you can forget what it is. She's going to save a buck. I will tell you, I brought this up because I heard about this morning. I went immediately to my wife and I said, look, honey, rosé and white cheddar Cheez-Its. And she went, what? And I said, yes. And so she has a friend. I hope she's not watching because she'll know who this is. That's perfect for this, just a kind of a joke gift. And she said she's probably going to get it as a gift but I don't know about pairing those two together. They did say in the article that I read that they pair well.
Wine and cheese, but just in a little bit of a lesser form, right? Wine and Cheez-Its in a box, all one box together.
Box, wine, and Cheez-Its. Okay, let's talk about a forecast, shall we? Because a lot of folks are concerned about not only the heat, but the thunderstorm activity, because anytime we get this warm, we're in the low 90s for the most part, by the way, some upper 80s in the mountain and foothill communities, but anytime you're that warm, you get a little lift, doesn't take much, and it causes thunderstorms. And you can see by looking at the radar here that we do see some to the west of us. Now, technically, what I'm showing you, these thunderstorm warnings are not in our viewing area. That's Avery, Burke, Caldwell, and McDowell, but it is moving in our direction. I'm not sure if it'll hold together, but in weather terms, we call that you look upstream to see where the wind is coming from. And that's what possibly awaits our mountain and foothill communities. Hot temperatures for the next several days. In fact, if you look at a long range outlook, a 7-day forecast, what you see on this graphic on the screen right now, hot, hazy, humid with late day scattered storms, that's pretty much every day. And this is the map moving from Wednesday into Thursday, and you just don't see a lot of change. So tonight, look for that low of 73. We're pretty sure that we'll hit those low 90s again, and we stay there, 91 to 93. That's not really a big range, is it? But that is what our high temperatures will look like every day in our 7-day forecast. Rain chances are about the only thing that change, and that would be a 50-50 shot each afternoon and evening for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday, it drops to 40. Now, we get a little dry on Sunday. That 20% may not amount to much, but we're back to a more normal 30% for Monday and Tuesday. During that entire period, all overnight lows are in the lower 70s.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Eric Chilton and Taheshah Moise this afternoon. We like to say this is a two-way street here. We're not just talking at you here on the 4 to 5, right? We want you to talk back. So join our conversation. We're live right now on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Just use our hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected.
It's been 6 months since the United States saw its first reported case of coronavirus, and life as we know has changed, of course. The U.S. now has more than 3 million cases, but many of those people have also recovered.
In the 6 months that I've been in the United States, an estimated 953,000 people have recovered. But doctors are still figuring out what recovery looks like, because scientists are watching me transform. And doctors don't know if you're immune to me after you're infected. Still, a long way to go before there's a vaccine. Until then, you will fight to stop my spread. Some of you will social distance, others won't. Some of you will wear a mask, others won't. Some of you will stay home, others won't.
Let's turn now to your 4 to 5 roundup this afternoon. The sheriff of Jacksonville, Florida, says he's concerned about the city hosting the Republican National Convention. He says he does not feel as though the sheriff's office can keep the event safe in its current state and is most concerned about the timetable to make it happen. Now, less than 40 days before the start of the convention, and Sheriff Williams has not signed any contracts to provide security for the event. Meanwhile, the mayor of Jacksonville says the city will work with the sheriff's office over the next few days and weeks to plan safety measures. Members of the San Francisco Giants knelt during the national anthem before last night's exhibition game. Manager Gabe Kapler, right fielder Jalen Davis, and first base coach Antoine Richardson all took a knee. Shortstop Brandon Crawford stood behind them with his hands on their shoulders. Kapler has been outspoken about social injustice and racial issues and athletes' role in helping spur positive change. A teachers' union in Florida filed a lawsuit against the governor and the State Department of Education in an attempt to stop schools from opening at the end of August. The lawsuit says it is not safe for schools to reopen during the pandemic. The group demands the state turn to online instruction and make internet and devices available for all kids so they can take classes at home until it's safe for them to return to school buildings. Well, if you forget the Thanksgiving stuffing this year, your options to shop last minute will be more limited. Walmart announced its stores and Sam's Clubs will close on Thanksgiving Day this year. The president and CEO of the company says it's a way to give workers time to spend with their loved ones. Stores will open for normal hours the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and the company says their Black Friday hours will be announced at a later day. Well, the day is finally here. Amazon's new fulfillment center in Kernersville is open. Hundreds of people showed up for their first day of work on Sunday. Now, the first item received into the new 1 million square foot building, a pillow. The center will employ 1,000 full-time workers who will pack and ship larger items across our region. Amazon is still hiring for that Kernersville location. We have more information on how to apply on our website.
Raleigh Mayor Mary Ann Baldwin is enforcing new rules in the city, saying that alcohol sales must end by 11 p.m. each night. Now, this order comes after a viral video shows a packed restaurant and bar.
Packed and partying at the Rockford Saturday night, no mask or social distancing visible. This video posted by the restaurant on Instagram encouraging even more people to stop by, a scene upsetting to many.
All of these people that are doing so many things to try and prevent the spread, and it takes just a small group of people to cause something to go tragically wrong.
The owner says the crowd of nearly 100 came in randomly Saturday night right before closing, as they were one of the only places still open. He says new and temporary staff members working were overwhelmed, unsure what to do, but says when he learned what was happening, he shut the scene down within an hour.
We had people in place that were equipped to handle it and made bad decisions, and we take full responsibility for it. And we've made the changes that it won't ever happen again.
In an effort to prevent similar situations, Raleigh Mayor Mary Ann Baldwin enacting an order that prevents restaurants, grocery, and convenience stores from serving alcohol after 11 p.m. every night.
We've got to take all precautions that we can to ensure that COVID does not continue to spread at the rate it has.
Hibernian Restaurant and Pub has already started closing at 11 every night in response to that order. They say it will cause about a 20% loss of revenue, but they say it could be worse.
We really can't afford to be shut down all the way. So if we lose these 2 or 3 hours every night of the week, and we can stay open, then I can still pay my employees.
Commend that business owner for stepping up and saying, hey, you know, we messed up. We take responsibility for what happened here, and moving forward, this is the changes that we are going to do. But I mean, when you look at those videos, it's like no one was caring that there was a pandemic out there and that we are in a public health crisis.
And we've seen other cities across the nation take similar measures. But even before you think about banning alcohol sales or anything like that, a number of businesses have taken it upon themselves, like the last guy they spoke to there has, to just close down early. This leaves employees more time to clean and disinfect everything before the next shift starts. So I think we'll see more places start to do that and close a little bit earlier.
It's funny because we never thought, if you back up even 5 months ago, a scene of a crowded restaurant or bar after 11 p.m. would not be shocking. You know, now we look at that and we're like, wow, it's hard to believe. So times have changed. But I will say this, the restaurant owner said it best. He'd rather close at 11 and still have customers to serve than to be shut down all the way.
That's a good point. All right, well, President Trump says that he plans to send more federal agents to other cities. We'll move on to this next story here as violent protests in Portland continue. Federal agents fired tear gas and smoke bombs earlier this morning into crowds. The Department of Homeland Security says they are thinking about sending officers to multiple different cities, including Kansas City, Albuquerque, and Chicago. Oregon is now suing for what they call agents' aggressive handling of the situation.
Charges are filed against a St. Louis couple who pointed guns at protesters. Mark and Patricia McCloskey are charged with unlawful use of a weapon. Now, after standing in their front yard, you probably saw the pictures. They were all over social media with guns as protesters walked by their home. But a Missouri attorney general is now pardoning the couple, citing the Castle Doctrine. The attorney general says the law allows people to defend their homes and property. Now, St. Louis University constitutional and criminal law professor says that the McCloskey's land was covered under the doctrine and adds there was no legal right to protest on their street, and those protesters were trespassing.
Forecast is hot, isn't it? We are tired of these hot, hazy, humid days, but it is, you know, late July, heading into August. It's the hottest time of the month, statistically speaking, although our normal high should be in the upper 80s. But 93 in Greensboro, 93 Winston-Salem, Burlington, you have 95, Mary's at 90, along with Wilkesboro, Statesville at 96. When you factor in the humidity, it feels like 102 degrees in Winston-Salem, 103 in Burlington, Lexington at 100 in the feels like index, and Asheboro 102, even high point at 95 degrees. So overall, we will see, and it's this time of the year, we kind of expect this, but we will see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, more likely in the western parts of our viewing area than over everywhere. But still, watch for that. 73 will be our low tonight, 93 the high tomorrow, and it is a repeat performance, folks. Over the next 7 days, we stay low 90s for highs, low 70s for lows, and then late day pop-up showers and thunderstorms. We mentioned most of this is west or south of us. That area of North Carolina seeing a few thunderstorm warnings. That's toward Avery, Burke, Caldwell, McDowell counties. But it can happen here too. So watch for those to pop up. And we, of course, will keep you posted if that happens as we head throughout the evening. Same old for the next several days. It's 7 more days of pretty much exactly what we've seen today.
I'm Stacey Spivey, and here's a look at what's trending online in your social snapshot. Baseball season starting this week, and a familiar face will be throwing out the very first pitch. The country's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, will throw out the ceremonial first pitch at Major League Baseball's opening game Thursday night. Fauci is a self-described fan of the World Series champion team, Washington Nationals, the team that extended the invitation for their game against the New York Yankees. And buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks because today is National Junk Food Day. Well, actually, my favorites are ice cream and gummy bears, but I asked you to weigh in on Facebook. Greg says potato chips with ranch dip. Sounds delicious. Jerry kind of being on my side, saying strawberry ice cream. And then Sherry and Benny commented saying chocolate-covered peanuts. And then Danny said, no junk food. Okay, Danny, I know they're not good for you. They're high in calories and sugars and fats, but sometimes you just gotta have some junk food. It's good for the soul, right? That's a look at your social snapshot.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. California's governor is issuing some new guidelines for beauty salons. Nail and hair salons, as well as barbershops, can now reopen if they move outside. Those salons were ordered to close about a week ago if the county that they were in was on a watch list for an increasing number of coronavirus cases. The new rule applies to aesthetic, skincare, cosmetology, nail services, and massage therapy. Other services like electrology, tattooing, and piercing shops are not included because they require an indoor hygienic environment.
Strange to think about, huh? Getting a facial as you're sitting outside. Well, I wanted to get your thoughts on this to see if maybe you would choose to get your hair cut or your nails done outside. Let's see what you had to say. Michelle Grandi writes, yep. Brittany Wall says, it's too hot for that. I'll pass. I can do my own hair and nails if need be. Ruth and Albert Johnson says, it's odd, but if you are desperate, I guess you'll do it. I personally wouldn't, especially in this heat. Greg Adams says, don't want to have to do that? Wear a mask. Lolita says, it depends on the weather. And Sharon says, nope. And lastly, Tracy says, not unless it's under a tent to shield people from the sun. I don't know about you, but when I go outside and it's humid out, my hair immediately frizzes up. So I cannot imagine trying to get a blowout in 90-degree weather with like 90% humidity. Now, granted, the weather is different, you know, in Southern California, but still, no thanks.
Yeah, I don't know about this one either. I never had to think about it, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know about this. Eric, you have been to a barbershop and you say it was safe and you don't need to be outside.
I know. I just can't. I'm so hot natured. If it's 92 degrees like it is today, I can't think of anything much worse than sweating and getting a haircut at the same time. That I could not. If it's fall and there's a breeze going, yeah, I'll do that. Keeps it out of your shirt. But I'm not going to sit out there and sweat to death with hair sticking all over me. That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
And then you think about, like, if you put a fan out there or the breeze came and the hairdresser's about to snip your ends and then it goes. I mean, I see some issues popping up with this one, but at least people are able to have the option.
Good for them.
Yeah, okay. Let us know what you think. Join our conversation. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Use our hashtag 4 to 5, and we'll be right back.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those Californians have weird ideas. 1, 2, 3.
So you're getting ready to head to the beach, but you remember how many things you need to buy to take with you to the beach. So before you drop hundreds of dollars on all the towels and toys, we have a solution for you. So I spoke with Sarah Butner of Goodwill, who says that we need to stop by her place and take a look around.
Sarah, this is pretty cool. You know, I never thought about this, but what a great way to save money right before you do a vacation. And everybody needs to save money right now. So let's talk about thrifting for your beach trip.
Well, you know, when you go on vacation, you always end up finding things that you need at the last minute, especially at the beach. You need towels and baskets and sometimes extra shoes and clothing. So you can save money on that kind of thing if you go to thrift stores, and places like Goodwill have more of that kind of thing than you would expect. And you end up saving a lot of money in the long run, especially if you're traveling with a whole family.
I always wonder if do people ever walk into Goodwill and then they may say something like this, that's kind of topical or topically driven, where they're saying, look, I'm going to the beach and I need that type of thing, help me out.
Absolutely, and people have all the time coming in, and especially if they're new to the store and they don't know where something might be located, saying, I really need buckets, sand buckets and toys, and I really need blankets.
And we're talking about massive savings. I mean, if you had to do a percentage off of a retail price for some of these items, what would you say?
It's hard to say because you know, you can find something like a beach towel pretty cheaply at a large big box store, but you get what you pay for. It's not going to be the best quality. Whereas items that are donated to Goodwill were in many cases name brand items, and they're things that were a lot more expensive. Only now you can get them for you know, $5, $10 at the most.
Perfect. I'm as cheap as they come, so you're talking to my heart there. Sarah, thanks so much for taking time with us today.
Taheshah and I are both very excited about this. So I asked you on Facebook if you could only take two things to actually go physically on the beach with all day long, what would it be? Because that's a tough decision. Here's what you had to say. Candy Burke said, towel and water. I would do the sunscreen before I left. Ah, you're cheating there. Barbara Nelson Goff, no, she's working the system, that's what that is, said sunscreen and water. However, regardless, I would be fried. I would agree with you on that. Joan Stewart Inman said beach chair and a book, taking it easy. Keisha said a towel for the kid's face who's going to scream every time his face gets wet, and some sunscreen. Yep, she's a parent. Shandy says towel and a cooler full of drinks. Very good. And you got to like Sandra Turner here. Sandra says, my boyfriend in a chair. That's all she needs.
That's sweet. I can't do
Isn't that
this.
nice?
It stresses me out too much. I need all of my things, and I need them in my beach bag, and I need about 4 beach bags, and then I need the chair and the umbrella. So I can't.
Yes.
It stresses me out too much to narrow it down, Chilton. I'm sorry.
So
I cannot participate.
This is what Maddie does. Maddie goes, bring it in, boys. And
Yeah.
the truck's backing up. That's
Okay. Taheshah, help me.
No, I had a different picture of Maddie in my mind. For some reason, I felt like Maddie was going to be the person carrying everything, juggling, and then things falling. That's what I was imagining. But I like the snap to it. Get to it, boys.
No, I have my arms full and my cooler, and
But two things.
am trying to run through the hot sand, and then I regret it when I get out there and I have to bring it all back in after a long day on the beach. But I need more than 2 things is my point here.
Yep. Well, it was a challenge.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say. All right, let's talk about the forecast. Challenging temperatures. That's what we call a segue in the business. That was horrible. 98 degrees in Greensboro. The feels like index, by the way. It's not actual temperatures, but 102 in Winston-Salem, 102 for Lexington, Asheboro, Burlington at 103. Yeah, it's a little bit warm and sticky out there, folks. 73 will be our low tonight. Most of the evening storms so far have been west into the mountains, but we'll watch for an isolated shower here or there. See some of that on the radar, just not as much. 93 will be your high temperature tomorrow, and it's the same old stuff, just a mix of sun and clouds with late day pop-up storms. And really, they could happen anywhere. Although today, just based on the wind flow, it's been more to the west in the mountains. Here's what it looks like across the area. You do see a couple little pop-up showers, some of it in Caswell County, also in northern Davidson, southern Forsyth. I mean, they're kind of scattered everywhere. It's not a washout by any stretch of the imagination. You have to go back to the mountains to where it gets a little bit rough. We've seen these thunderstorms warnings popping up, not in our viewing area, but just to the west of us in Avery, Burke, Caldwell, and McDowell. Some of that could translate south and east into the Triad, and we, of course, will be watching that for you. But overall, here's the pattern. That high pressure sits out off the coast. Remember that clockwise flow of winds around a high. So if you imagine that moving like a clock, then our wind, since we're on the left side, will be coming out of the south. And that's why we're seeing, by the way, some of those showers develop along the mountains, because the winds will come out of the south and then be forced to rise on the mountains. And it causes that thunderstorm activity to happen where that lift is. So we'll see some thunderstorm chances every day in our 7-day forecast. Even as we head, things just don't change very much from Wednesday into Thursday. It's the same old stuff here. The cold front is held way to our north because of that high pressure ridge across our area. So for tonight, look for a couple of those evening storms, again, mostly west, partly cloudy. 73 will be the low. Tomorrow's high in the low 90s again. And you do not see a lot of change in our 7-day forecast from one day to day 7, because we take you all the way through and look at highs only ranging between 91 and 93. That's every day. So what you saw today is kind of what you get. Lows will be around 71 to 73, and 50-50 shot of late day showers, pop-up variety. That'll be for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By the time we get to the weekend, it drops a little bit. You've got a 40 and a 30% chance for Saturday and Sunday. And then heading into Monday, Tuesday, that is a more normal 30% chance of a shower each afternoon and evening.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, a change of plans for the Alamance Burlington School District. The superintendent now wants the school year to start with remote learning only. A closer look at the new recommendation next on WFMY News 2 at 5.
Hello, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, my battery is dying. That's not good.
Hey, Brett, what's up? Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good evening, everybody. It is hot still, and it might rain.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3. Governor Cooper praises stores for requiring face masks, but 2 popular discount chains rolled back their requirements. Happened yesterday night.
It is time for my 2 cents. I am over virtual communication. I'm tired of it. I don't want to do another interview on FaceTime or a company meeting over Zoom. I have reached my limit, and honestly, one more may just push me over the edge. Now let me backtrack. I'm grateful for the technology. If this pandemic would have happened 20 years ago, none of this would have been possible. More people would have lost their jobs, and we'd actually feel much less connected than we do now. In addition, I'm still not comfortable meeting strangers face-to-face or being in a large group, and this technology helps me do my job while avoiding those interactions. Still, I dread sending another invite to a virtual gathering or having to see my friends and coworkers in their little Brady Bunch-style boxes instead of face-to-face. Humans are social creatures. We need that in-person interaction to be happy. Actually, a 2015 study says that regular face-to-face communication cuts the risk of depression in adults by half. Video, phone, and email correspondence just don't have the same effect. And it may have taken me 4 months of talking through a screen, but I'm starting to feel the frustration that a lack of socialization can create. I'm ready for the day when I can sit down across from another human and have a conversation without having to worry about someone getting sick. Y'all, I'm ready for those workplace meetings that could have been an email. Technology has helped us navigate this pandemic and stay productive, but I'll be glad when I can hang up the virtual calls for good. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Alamance County Schools is changing its initial back-to-school plan to keep students home longer.
Governor Roy Cooper praises stores for requiring masks, while 2 popular discount chains roll back their requirements.
But first, a man arrested for allegedly spitting on a woman's car during a road rage incident.
It happened yesterday in High Point. WFMY News 2's Jess Winters spoke to the victim, who says she was also in the wrong.
I will admit I timed it wrong. I did cut him off.
The victim here, Emma Fitzwater, is doing something victims don't usually do, apologizing.
I couldn't just whip it in here because it's gravel, and I didn't realize that, and so shame on me for that.
She'll say sorry for her driving all day long, but what came after is another story